Abraham has waited a long time to be with you.
How can I rest, knowing my wife is in the clutches of the horsemen?
Go after her now. It's suicide.
We have the means to create a weapon of unearthly power.
We're not talking about raising a weapon. We're talking about raising a monster.
How blind you people are to the reality before you.
Crane's life will end on the eve your new life begins.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Watch Shane Watch Stuff. I'm Shane Andrews, and today we're going to be talking about Sleepy Hollow Season 2, Episode 2, The Kindred. Now I must say, first off, after watching this episode, I was once again just so impressed with the level of special effects that this show continues to have. You know, there's just non-stop to me about how well done they continue to make their practical effects, that they use some CGI here and there, but it's never overdone, it's never over the top. I'm never thinking, oh wow, that's CGI, as I'm watching it. You know, this show really has some top quality work being done on it, and that is just amazing to me for network television, for something to look so good every single time. I've just really enjoyed that part of the show, and I just had to say that, you know, something I was also thinking about is Moloch, the villain in this entire show. He just has a great look this season. They've kind of tweaked it a little bit from last season, and I feel like it's just such a great look to him. He looks menacing, he looks frightening, but he also looks like he could take care of business. And so I just think it's really well done what they've done with that character and how they've made him look, and done it so practically, but made it look so good. So I just am really impressed with the special effects once again off the top of the bat. Now this episode, The Kindred, in this one, Katrina, Ichabod Crane's wife, is still captured by the Headless Horseman, whose name is also Abraham. And we know that in the past, Abraham had been in love with Katrina. And we find out some very interesting things about their previous relationship. Whether they are to be believed or not will leave us up to some speculation. But we find out some very interesting things about it, nonetheless. Now, Ichabod and Abbie Mills, they are going to try and rescue Katrina. Ichabod wants to rescue her because he knows that she is a witch, so she has some power, which seems to be something that the villains have. They have some of these different powers, they've got different ways of going about things, but Abbie and Ichabod don't. They're just regular people who have got maybe some knowledge and maybe some skills and know how to shoot a gun, but they don't necessarily have some powers like Katrina does. And so having Katrina on their side in this war against the apocalypse is something that I can understand them wanting very badly. And so in this episode, they seek to go and rescue her from the Headless Horseman, from Abraham, and get her back. So it's very interesting. So, you know, we're about to dive in. There could be some spoilers, so if you haven't watched the episode yet, go watch it. It was another great episode, really well done. Loved it. I love Season 2 and where they're going so far, so go check it out. I believe it's up on Hulu now, so go take a look at that. And we'll dive in here. So you've got the warning that there could be spoilers coming up, so if you need to check out now. Otherwise, here we go. So, first off, in this episode, we have some introduction of some new characters. There is a new sheriff in town, Lena Reyes. And I actually was very glad about the addition of this character. You know, last season, we had Captain Irving, played by Orlando Jones, who he quickly, at the beginning, was very against what Abbie was doing and was very skeptical and lots of questions he was asking. But later on, he started to see, oh, there is something more going on here beyond just a typical murder or two. Like something much bigger is happening and something must be done about this. And so he quickly jumps on the bandwagon to believe what Abbie and Ichabod are talking about and sees things for himself. However, this new sheriff, she is definitely against any sort of idea that there is something beyond a typical serial murderer, which I don't know if that's very typical, but a serial murderer going around in this town. And she says early on, I am here to bring sanity back to this town. And so she is very bent on making sure that things are going to be taken care of, these cases are going to be solved, and they are going to be answers to the questions that everyone is asking. However, Abbie and Ichabod obviously don't always play by the same rules everyone does. And so quickly, Jenny, I love the exchange with Jenny in the jail cell after the new sheriff, Lena, finds her with the pack of guns. Loved that exchange. I thought it was a great little moment. And also the look at Ichabod as like, who exactly are you? I'm going to figure out who you are, and you're not sticking around here for very long. So I just think it's very interesting, and also it's very interesting this connection that Lena Reyes has back to Abbie and Jenny's mother. Now that is an interesting plot twist to me. I just keep thinking, what are they going to do with this mom? Are they going to bring the mom in somehow? Is there going to be something to do with this mother? Abbie's talked about her before and said that she's just plain crazy. Like she's just out there. And so is she crazy, actual crazy? Or is she crazy in the sense of she knows some of the things going on in this supernatural realm and has answers about them? So we'll have to kind of see, probably as the season plays out, we're going to learn more about this relationship and what's going on there. So I thought Lena Reyes was a great addition to the cast. She was really well done by the actress. I thought it was great. Loved it. I thought it was wonderful. And I think it'll be a great new obstacle for Ichabod and Abbie to face. As I said, I feel like Captain Irving kind of got to a point where he's a great character. I love him, but he just was at a point where he was going along with everything and making it almost a little easier for Abbie and Ichabod to keep going. And I honestly think that may be why they removed him in making him testify to the murder of that gentleman in the one episode where his daughter, possessed by a demon, killed the guy. So very interesting things that they're doing. I loved it. The other thing is Katrina. Now, this was very interesting to me. Katrina now, she is in the house with the Headless Horseman, and she has this necklace on that it was apparently given to her in the past. We saw that in the past as well, this like emerald type necklace. And somehow it allows her to see Abraham's head, the Headless Horseman's old head, before he became the Headless Horseman, which I think is very interesting. I don't know if it's the emerald doing that or if it's some other trick that the Headless Horseman is using, but it seems to be that necklace is doing something in some way. And so Katrina, she's in this house and she overhears the Headless Horseman and Henry Parrish, the second horseman, the horseman of war, talking about their plans to raise Moloch. And so she can now spy effectively for Abbie and Ichabod. And when Abbie and Ichabod do get to her, Ichabod has this exchange with her and she says, look, I can be a spy, I can be a mole, I can listen to everything that's going on, leave me here. Which is very interesting, and I have a few questions about it, because at one point in the episode, when the Headless Horseman is talking to Katrina, he almost seems to convince her that Ichabod is in love with Abbie Mills. And I want to talk about that relationship in a minute here. But it seemed very interesting to me, and a very interesting connection that Abraham is making here and saying, look, like, Ichabod is not totally into you anymore, Katrina. He's all over Abbie, and shows her this memory of back in Purgatory when Abbie and Ichabod are hugging, and Ichabod tells her about the bond that they have, which is the two witnesses bond, but Katrina doesn't know that. She just thinks, maybe something more is going on here romantically. So my question is, what is her end game? Is she really gonna be just a mole? And I think she's going to be for a while, but my suspicion is this. This is my guess for what's going to happen. I think she's going to end up being somehow fall in love with Abraham or somehow turn away from Ichabod. There's going to be some rift that happens that causes a separation between the two of them, and I have this feeling that she may turn to the other side. Whether it's by magic or whether it's by just her relationship with Abraham, something's going to happen there that I think they are alluding to. And why do I think they're alluding to this? Because I think the producers of the show and the writers of the show would like to see Ichabod and Abbie's relationship grow. Now, why do I think this? A few different reasons. This episode had a lot of interesting dialogue about weddings, about love, about relationships, people mistaking Ichabod and Abbie. Like, there was a great scene in the bank when Ichabod is playing with the pen that's attached to the desk, and then the guy comes over and is trying to give him a credit card, sell him a credit card, say, hey, you can buy an engagement ring for that girl over there, this is super great, like awesome, and assumes that they are together. And so I think there was a lot of different talk. And at one point, Abbie's explaining the wedding industry to Ichabod. And so it's just so, to me, it's very funny and very interesting. You know, throughout television history, there's always been those pairings that people have watched and thought, oh, wouldn't it be so great if they would just get together? Like an instant one come to my mind is Mulder and Scully from X-Files. You know, for season after season, people were always like, oh, won't Mulder and Scully just get together? You know, we'd love to see them together. And the shows love to tease this idea out. Will they get together? Will they not get together? And I think we are seeing the beginnings of this for Ichabod and Abbie. Now, I don't know what you guys would like to see, you know, and that could be something you write down in the comments below. Would you like to see Ichabod and Abbie get together eventually? Would you like to see Ichabod just forget about Katrina, move on, or something happened to Katrina and she's just out of the picture so it's not even a worry anymore? What would you like to see is the question for me. Personally, I don't want them to be in a relationship. And I think it's just because I really love the two of them as just, you know, two awesome leads in this show who are partners and they are friends and they are working together and they are under some difficult circumstances. And although while a romantic relationship may definitely complicate everything, I just think, oh, I would love to see the two of them just remain such good friends. I love the idea of them as friends. I love it, love it, love it. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future here. But personally, I don't know if I would like the two of them to be together. But what do you guys think? Do you think they should be together? Do you think they shouldn't be together? What would you like to see happen with Katrina and the Abraham, the Headless Horseman? Can the Headless Horseman be redeemed? That's the other interesting thought I had. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I also thought it was very interesting the ending of the show. Now, throughout the episode, Henry Parrish has been working on some sort of pen, and we see this throughout the whole time, like what exactly is he working on? And by the end, we find out that it's this pen. And he goes to Captain Irving in the psychiatric ward at the little mental asylum there, and goes in and he's pretending to be Captain Irving's lawyer. And this is crazy because I was thinking about it. I was like, wait a minute. Hasn't Captain Irving seen him before? Doesn't he know? But then I realized, no, he does not know because he was taken out early at the end of the last 2 episodes of season 1. He was taken up to another town to be tried for the murder of that guy that was killed by his daughter. And when he confessed to the crime. And so he does not know who Henry Parrish is. And Abbie and Ichabod have not told him because it just hasn't come up. Because there's been so many other crazy things going on. And as we saw in this episode, when Abbie goes to see him, it's very difficult to get to him. It's very hard to see him in the prison. So he does not know. And at the end, he's about to sign this paper. He pricks his finger on the pen and a little drop of blood goes out. And I was wondering, I saw in the episode, Henry Parrish takes a little piece off of that pen and it has the blood tip on a little bit of blood on it. So my question is, what is Henry Parrish thinking about doing with this blood? Is this a way that he can control Captain Irving somehow? That's my thought. It's going to be some sort of control or something like the character for the... I totally forget his name. John Cho played him last season, who was, you know, working for Moloch and was like kind of tied down to working for Moloch and had no choice about it. So I wonder if now Captain Irving is going to be in the same position where he wants to help Abbie and Ichabod, but he is bound by this blood oath of some kind to work for Moloch. So I think it's very exciting, very interesting what they're doing. This episode had some great battle sequences, I thought, too. The monster that they raised. I loved the part where they called him the Frankenstein. I thought that was really funny, this Kindred creation that they've made, who disappeared into the fog, and I bet you anything it's going to come back at some point to save them just when they least expect it. But I thought there were some great battle moments, some great intense, crazy parts. I just thought it was great. Another great episode from Sleepy Hollow. I'm excited to see what happens next. Excited to see where they go. The show is only getting better and better in my mind. I love this show. I think it's great. So, what do you guys think? What do you think about the Abbie and Ichabod relationship? Do you think that should happen? Should it not happen? What do you think Katrina's endgame is? Do you think she's on to something? Or is she kind of messing around with the whole system? Is she doing her own thing? Is she falling in love with Abraham? And what do you think this whole thing with Henry Parrish and Captain Irving's blood is all about. So I'd love to hear your comments and your thoughts down below. Go ahead and write those down below. And thanks for watching, and hope you have a great rest of the day. See you later. Bye.